Hey guys, Boss and Ramos, and yeah, this attire would have been really, really cool if the Dolphins had won, but they did not. They lost by a score of 33-8 to the Indianapolis Colts in Week One, giving the Colts the first Week One victory since 2013. Yeah, that's a tough one, a tough pill to swallow for the Miami Dolphins. And they just had to move forward and advance to next week against the New England Patriots. But while we're still here, while we're still taking it all in, let's just react to what happened today. So the Miami Dolphins could not get it done whatsoever offensively, uh, and the first half was abysmal. You take out the fact that they scored in the fourth quarter with 6 minutes to go. Uh, no offense whatsoever for this Miami Dolphins team. In the first half, the Dolphins had 8 minutes and 20 seconds of time of possession. They only had 43 yards. That's the worst first half of a Dolphins offense since 1991. You know, I wasn't even alive for that. That's how long it's been since his offense have done something that bad, that miserable. But two turnovers in the first half as well, three first downs. It's just abysmal offense. When you put it side by side compared to the Indianapolis Colts, 255 yards of offense, zero turnovers, and 17 first downs in the first half. Go inside with 8 minutes and 20 seconds of time of possession to 21 minutes and 40 seconds of time of possession for the Colts. The Dolphins defense, which coming into the season already had a lot of questions, a lot of holes in the secondary. We'll get to Storm Duck's injury in a second, but a lot of questions there. Doesn't help that they're on the field the whole half, and it's largely in part due to Tua's poor performance. He had two of those turnovers in the first half were on him. All the turnovers in this game were on Tua. So, but I will also say some boneheaded mistakes, especially in the second half. There was one time that the Colts were first and 30, and due to their own shooting themselves in the foot mistakes, and then the Dolphins followed it up with their own penalty, giving the Colts an automatic first down. When you have a great defensive stand, a lot of penalties going your way, So and then Matthew Judon running into the punter when the Dolphins finally got a stop on defense. You just couldn't make some of this stuff up, and that's some of the stuff as a Dolphins fan that is really aggravating to see. Now, normally, I would run through the entire stat sheet. I'm not going to do that moving forward this season. I'm just going to highlight certain things. But first and foremost, let's jump into the highlight. And sorry for the background noise. If you guys didn't see the preview, I am in Honolulu, Hawaii, and that explains the attire. But I'm probably going to change out of this real quick because that was a bit of a performance. Now, let's get to this highlight real quick. And if there's any jumps, just know I had to remove certain clips in order to be able to post this online. All right, let's get started. Week one, Uno's at the helm, and he's ready. He's just chomping at the bit to get going. But man, it's going to be a choppy one for Tua out here in the Dolphins. First drive of the game, Tua overthrows Tyreek Hill into Cameron Bynum's hands. He's in disbelief, but the Colts immediately answer off of the turnover. The Dolphins are already trailing 3-0 at this point. Now make it 10-0. Michael Pittman, big time bomb from Danny Dimes. Big time game from Danny Dimes here. Tua fumbles off the Kenny Moore strip sack. Can't believe it. And guess who comes up with it? None other than the former Dolphin, Xavier Howard. Love you, X-Man. Jesus, man, why'd you have to do this to us? Daniel Jones. Is that Jalen Hurts? A little tush push action. He gets in the end zone for 6. Coming out of the half, Dolphins trailing 20-0. Tua throws it right to the defensive lineman, Latu. It's not Tua's day. Dolphins in disbelief. Latu's first career interception. Daniel Jones follows it up with another rushing touchdown. Daniel Jones, 3 touchdowns on the day. Pretty much a career day for Daniel Jones. And what a way to start the season for the Indianapolis Colts, getting their first win week 1 since 2013. Now, let's get into the stat sheet. I'm not going to go full in-depth. I'm not going to go stat by stat. I'm going to just highlight certain things that just didn't make sense to me, was not good to me, etc., etc. We're going to overview the whole team as a whole at this very point. Dolphins, 211 total total yards of offense. They got a majority of that in the second half, like I said earlier. 48 or so yards in the first half, abysmal, 43 I believe. 3 turnovers on the day, all on Tua, not so great. 12 first downs, not great. Meanwhile, the Indianapolis Colts, 418 total yards, 0 turnovers, and 27 first downs. Time of possession was abysmal in this one. Colts ran the ball down the Dolphins' throat, especially with Jonathan Taylor in the first half. Second half, he didn't play much. But 38 minutes and 43 seconds total for the Colts, 20 minutes and 43 seconds for the Miami Dolphins. Now, if we look at some of the stat sheet, we got Tua going 14 of 23 for 114 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, and sacked 3 times for a loss of 13 total yards. Not a great day in the offense for Tua. Meanwhile, on the flip side for the Colts, Daniel Jones, 22 of 29, 272 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions, and 1 sack for a loss of 10. Dolphins' leading ball carrier was Devon Achane with 7 carries, 55 total yards. Dolphins had 78 total yards on the ground. Meanwhile, the Colts had Jonathan Taylor lead back as 18 carries, 71 yards, 156 total yards on the ground there for the Colts. J.D. Giddens got a boatload of the rest, so did Daniel Jones. Now, for the passing attack, Dolphins didn't even have a receiver go over 40 yards. Tyreek Hill, 4 receptions for 40 total yards. Jalen Waddle with 4 receptions, 30. Devon Achane, 3 receptions, 20. Not so great on the passing side for the Miami Dolphins. Colts' leading receiver was Michael Pittman Jr. with 6 receptions, 80 total yards, and a touchdown, longest of 27, which was that big touchdown catch on Storm Duck. Tyler Warren, pretty good rookie premiere for him, 7 of 76. Big time game from the rookie tight end. Alec Pierce had 1 big time reception for 36 total yards. Let's talk about some turnovers. Tua had the fumble, which was recovered then by Xavier Howard. And then on top of that, 2 interceptions thrown. 1 interception thrown to Cam Bynum for a return of 14. Leitu Latu with 1 interception, returned for 2 total yards. Dolphins' leading tackler was Jordan Brooks with 14 total tackles, followed by Tyrell Dodson with 13. And then lastly, Miko Fitzpatrick with 9. Top 3 for the Colts was Nick Cross with 6 total tackles, Shavarius Ward with 6 total, same with Joe Backey. The Colts also had sacks from Nick Cross, Sam Ebukam, and Kenny Moore, which was that strip sack we saw earlier. The lone sack for the Miami Dolphins came from Bradley Chubb, keeping it pushing. Not so much to say on the kick returns here. No one really cares. The Dolphins were really behind there. Jake Bailey had 1 punt for 42 yards. The Colts did not punt a single time. And then kicking for the Indianapolis Colts, Spencer Schrader had 4 for 4 on field goals with a long of 48 and 3 for 3 on extra points. 15 total points for him. Great news for him. Right now, Colts are the only AFC South team that has played as of yet, and all of the AFC East teams have lost besides Buffalo. They're due to play tonight for Sunday Night Football against Ravens. Guys, man, that was awful. That was an awful, pitiful performance by the Miami Dolphins. The offensive line did not do their job alongside with Tua. Those two coincide with one another. Tua was getting a lot of pressure, but man, Tua made a lot of boneheaded mistakes. Overthrowing his receiver, not securing the football while getting sacked by Kenny Moore, and then just throwing straight up to a defensive lineman. That is just, Latu dropped into coverage and he just, boom, straight to one of his Polynesian brothers. It's an awful way to start the season for the Miami Dolphins, and they have a lot to work on moving forward. But for the time being, this is one game, and this is a 1 week at a time season. A lot of fans are upset, and rightfully so. You cannot come out of the gates this week and fall flat on your face like that. In a large due part to Tua's performance, 100%. But the offensive line was getting blown up. They had an early injury with, I believe it was Chase Daniels. And another injury that was significant was Storm Duck. His ankle got rolled up on while he was making a tackle, already thinning out that secondary cornerback position. So not some great news for the Miami Dolphins. They leave this game banged up, and their feelings are probably hurt by only putting up 8 points, which was pretty much garbage time points as well. So basically, the Miami Dolphins got shut out in Indy. So those are my takeaways. Hopefully, the Dolphins can bounce back and really make a key contribution to righting the wrongs of this game next week against the New England Patriots back at Hard Rock Stadium, 1 o'clock kickoff. But for the time being, really sour taste in the Dolphins organization's mouth, on top of that with their fans as well. A lot of fans were kind of expecting stuff like that, but man, they did not expect something this bad. Moving forward, the offensive line play has to be better. Tua's performance has to be better. He better be lights out against the New England Patriots in their home opener next week. On top of that, the time of possession disparity has to be a little bit more even. I understand this should be a fast attacking offense, but even then, Tyreek Hill was in and out of the lineup so much today. Even though in the offseason he was saying, I'm trying to play almost every down for this team. I know he got banged up at some point, but aside from that, a lot of the situations Tyreek Hill was off the field. You cannot have one of your best players off the field. So this really boils down to lack of preparation and poor coaching by Mike McDaniels. A lot of Dolphin fans are saying that. I got to agree with them. It looked like the Colts have been playing already 3 games into the season. It looks like Dolphins we're still stuck in preseason. That's just how it's looking right now. But yeah, aside from that, I'm really upset with the Dolphins' performance, but what can you do? It's only week 1. There's a lot of time to make up for this, and the season's not over just yet. Even though a lot of those memes are floating around, Dolphins eliminated already from the playoffs. Aside from that, I think the defensive line didn't do well. They were facing a formidable line in the Colts, and were not able to get nearly as much pressure as the inverse, as the Colts got pressure on the Miami Dolphins. Aside from that, I think the secondary didn't do too awful given the circumstances of already being thin in the cornerback position, dealing with the injury to Storm Duck. But even then, Storm Duck gave up that big-time touchdown to Micah Pittman, and that pretty much started the snowball, turning into the avalanche and turning into a big-time loss for the Miami Dolphins. Well, like I said earlier, they have a Week 2 matchup at home to open up their home games against the New England Patriots next week at 1 p.m. So hopefully I'll be there and make it on time. Aside from that, really looking forward to what the Dolphins do moving forward to answer back for this very, very pitiful performance by pretty much all the parts here. But you really got to hone it in on the offense, mostly the offensive line to more so than the offensive line. But yeah. Oh boy. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.